Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Bhalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jamuna Thira Vanachari Vanacha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivraja Srimad, His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajacharya, Astotara Satvasi Srimad, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonon, Chapter 19, Swallowing the Forest Fire, text number 8 through 10. Text number 8. Tan apatantam parito dabagnim Gopaschagava prasimikshabhita Uchuscha Krishnan Sabalan Prapanna Jata Harim Mrityu Vajadita Jana Tan apatantam parito dabagnim Gopaschagava prasamikshabhita Uchuscha Krishnan Sabalam Prapanna Yatha Harim Mrityu Vajardita Jana. Tam apatantam parito dabagnim Gopascha gava prasamiksha bhita Uchuscha Krishnam Sabalam Prapanna Yata Harim Mrityu Vajardita Jana. Please chant. Tam apatam tam parito dabagnim Gopascha gava prasamikshya bhita Uchuscha Krishnam Sabalam Prapanna Yata Harim Mrityu Vajardita Jana. Want to try Jitendra Prabhu? Tam apatam tam parito dabagnim Gopascha gava prasamiksha bhita Uchuscha Krishnam Sabalam Prapanna Yata Harim Mrityu Yajar Vajardita Jana. Tam, that, apatam tam, setting upon them, paritaha, on all sides, deva agnim, dava agnim, the forest fire, gopaha, the cowherd boys, cha, and gavaha, the cows, prasimiksha, intensely watching, bhitaha, afraid, uchuhu, they address cha, and Krishnam, Lord Krishna, Sabalam, Ambalaram, Prapanaha, taking shelter, Jata, as, Harim, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mrityu, of death, Bhaja, by fear, Ardita, trouble, Janaha, persons. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As the cows and the cowherd boys stare at the forest fire attacking them on all sides, they became fearful. The boys then approached Krishna and Balaram for shelter, just as those who are disturbed by fear of death approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The boys addressed them as follows. Text number 9. Krishna Krishna Mahavira He Ramo Moga Vikrama Dabagnina Dahyamanam Prapanam Stantru Tratum Arhataha. Translation. The cowherd boys say, "O Krishna, Krishna, most powerful one, O Rama, you whose prowess never fails, please save your devotees who are about to be burned by this forest fire and have come to take shelter of you. Text number 10. Nunantva bandava Krishna na chahan na charhantya basaditum bhajan hi sarva dharmagya tvannatas tvat prajanaha parajana. Translation: Krishna, certainly your own friends shouldn't be destroyed. O knower of the nature of all things, we have accepted you as our Lord, and we are so surrendered unto you. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapaswami. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Taruvyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So, I will read. There is no purpose for these three verses, but our Vaishnavacharyas, specifically Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami has given purpose to these verses. So text number 8. Again, I read the translation. As the cows and cowherd boys stare at the forest fire attacking them on all sides, they became fearful. The boys then approached Krishna and Balaram for shelter, just as those who are disturbed by fear of death approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The boys addressed them as follows. It said that we notice that when someone is even an atheist, sometimes in the face of death goes, "Oh my God!" They call for God. Then they remember God at that time. Even though, you live a life of denial of God. But at the time of the fear of death, those who are disturbed by the fear of death approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In general, that's when you try to take shelter to something higher for being safe or being protected. So it is said here that the boys, the cowherd boys, they approach Krishna and Balaram for shelter in that same manner, in full surrender. So here's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The cowherd boys spoke to Krishna. Why? Because they remembered that Garga had said, quote, "This boy will protect you from all dangers," end of quote. There are three readings: Gopas Chagava, cowherd and cows; Gopa Smagava, the cowherds and certainly the cows; and Gopas Sagava, cowherd with cows. So either combination, the boys took full shelter of Krishna because they were fully confident, and they also remember that there was this prediction that was given by the great sage Garga Rishi, who was the priest, the main priest of Vasudev, King Vasudev. So he was the priest of that kingdom, and then Vasudev sent Garga Rishi to Vrindavan to do all the um, birth ceremonies, rituals for Krishna, baby Krishna. And at that time, Gargarisi um, explained that Krishna is like Lord Vishnu, that he will give protection to all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So it was um, this description given by Gargarishi. And in the face of danger, the devotees, regardless, the children, the adults, the animals, they will always look up to Krishna. And mind, yourself, Krishna at this time was, a boy in the age of, not between 7 and 11 years old. It was that period. So even the adults would come to Krishna and say, please save us. Sometimes even Nanda Maharaj, will look up to Krishna. So they have full faith on that, and they have full understanding, not only based on their experience, on the love that they have for Krishna, but also based on what the great sage Gargarishi mentioned. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti highlights that. Srila Jiva Goswami on this verse. Seeing the fire quickly approaching, considering it fierce and difficult to escape, the ordinary boys engaged in herding spoke. Sridham and others would not make such requests since they were close to Krishna. When the fire came close, they surrendered to Krishna. They were frightened because they were with the cows. One version has Sagava instead of Chagava. Sagava is used instead of Sagava by the rule of Go, Striyor Uparsar Janasya. Another version has Gopasmagava. The word Harim indicates the powerful Amsa of Krishna. People suffering because of fear of samsara, not just immediate death, surrendered to the Lord. The boys were afraid of separation from Krishna, not death, as in the previous fire. That will be clear later. So, there's a couple of very fascinating points that Srila Jiva Goswami highlights. One is that among the cowherd boys, we heard that before, there's different levels of cowherd boys. Narmasakas, they're very intimate. The pre-Narmasakas, they're even more intimate. And there's the Sakas, which is friends. And even among friends, then sons that are very, very close to Krishna, and there's sons that are a little more distant, a little more in the Dasya type of mood. Although they're friends, they're more like the younger, so they're more servants, like that. But Srila Jiva Goswami says the ordinary boys were the one. So among the cowherd boys, friends of Krishna, the ordinary ones, meaning the regular ones, were the ones who were afraid, and they spoke to Krishna in that way. There's others that didn't speak, like Sridham, and Sridham was a very, very close friend of Krishna, and they were always by Krishna. So they didn't speak. So there's a difference there. And the other part that says is that the fear that the cowherd boys were experiencing was the sense not of losing their life, but the sense of losing the situation that they will be associating with Krishna. So the sense that you're going to lose the very wonderful and fortunate position of being in Krishna's association, that was their greatest fear. And so some points that I'm going to try to discuss it a little bit, as a little later. We also remember that in the past time, so just to see the different mood of certain cowherd boys, like they don't even need to ask Krishna for protection. They're assured of Krishna's protection, even in the face of danger, even in the face of death. So much is that assurance of Krishna's protection, and this is displayed in an extreme way during the pastimes of Agasura. We remember the cowherd boys see this very, very frightening sight of this gigantic cave that smelled rotten. And then with the smell and the whole thing, and they actually at one point figured it out, wow, this actually doesn't look like a cave. This looks like a giant snake trying to swallow us. But nevertheless, Krishna will protect us. Let's go and check it out. They just went inside, like playfully, understanding that a cave, a demon, whatever it is, Krishna will save us. And Krishna was a little shocked to see the recklessness of these devotees. That, they were so assured of Krishna's protection that they just march ahead. And Krishna at one moment was a little bewildered, what are they doing? And then, remember that, yes, so he goes and kills the demon and rescue the boys. In the life of great devotees that were completely fearless in the face of death, like Prahlad Maharaj, completely fearless. And you're not overcome by fear when they throw him, out of a very, very high cliff, right into the, how you say, down the cliff. And he never, he didn't freak out. He didn't scream, ah, oh help. He didn't do any of that. He was just chanting and chanting, peace, like, chanting like we chant our japa, walking here in the temple, very secure. Similarly, he didn't break a sweat. Even to the point, it is explained that as he fell down down the cliff, he's falling down, and the Lord appeared just at the last moment when he was going to hit the ground. And then he rescued. But he never broke, a sweat of it. And there is, all the different ways that Hiranyakashipu tried to kill Prahlad. Prahlad was always very peaceful and secure of the Lord's protection. So we see in the life of many devotees, that's one of the qualities of a devotee, is fearless. Fearless, why? Because they're fully assured of the Lord's protection. That is one of the main features of this position of the devotee that is fully surrendered, the Saranagati type of devotees. They're fully assured of Krishna's protection and also Krishna's guardianship. So Krishna is my protection, Krishna is my guardian, my supreme guardian. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells us that there is 6 limbs of this surrender, Saranagati. Anukulasya Sankalpa Pratikulasya Varjanam. Anukulasya Sankalpa means that we accept anything that is helpful for attaining Krishna consciousness, for attaining Krishna's service, association, like that. And Pratikulasya Vivarjanam is that we reject anything that is unfavorable in the path of Krishna consciousness. And then these two pretty much goes together. This Rakshasishyati Vivashaha is the faith that Krishna will assuredly grant his protection. And Goptritve Varanam means that he is my guard. He's my, we embrace his guardianship. So he is my maintainer, he is my protector. And the devotee have absolutely no anxiety on that. And material life or material consciousness means that we can fully embrace that position. We still remain we still maintain other shelters, not Krishna's shelter in full. We still have some position that there's other shelters than Krishna. And when we approach devotional service in the neophyte state of life or a state of devotion, there's a mix. Krishna may protect me, but when it comes down, I also have my way of taking care of myself. There's so many nice stories. One of the most famous stories of this progress from giving up all the different material shelters that we have and simply surrender to Krishna for him to fully protect us, to let Krishna fully protect us, fully dependent, is the example of Draupadi. So we know that when Draupadi was dragged into the court of the Kurus by Duryodhana, and by the order of Duryodhana, Dushashan was the one who actually, the Duryodhana's brother, dragged Draupadi by the hair, and on the order of Duryodhana, he was attempting to strip her of her clothing, make her naked in the court. And Draupadi, although was a Kshatriya queen, powerful, very powerful. I mean, so powerful that actually there was one occasion that she actually sucked the this powerful Kshatriya, his name was Jayadratha. He punched Jayadratha, who was attempting to approach her with some, lusty desires, and she punched him and knocked him down. So she was not, uh, yeah, like a damsel in distress. She can protect herself. She was a Kshatriya, powerful Kshatriya. But Dushashan, he was a Maharata. Dushashan was, one of those type of Kshatriyas that can fight thousands of soldiers at the same time. Dushashan was too powerful for her. So there was no match. And so Dushashan started to disrobe her, and she's trying to protect herself. And at one point, when she fully realized that she will not be able to protect herself, that's when she raised her two arms and say, "Hey, Govinda." And at that time, Krishna appeared, and Krishna protected her by providing unlimited saris. Devotees tell this story too. I don't know where it comes from, but the moral is the same, the principle is the same. There's a story that once Krishna in Dwarka was in his palace, and Rukmini Devi was serving him his lunch. So Krishna was honoring his Rajbhoga. And as he's sitting and being served, in some other place, one devotee, very nice devotee, who was walking through the forest, was attacked by one of these voracious animals. And then as he's being chased, he immediately called for Krishna. He was calling for Krishna. "Krishna, protect me, Krishna, Krishna." And then Krishna immediately, in the middle of his lunch, then he stood up. And then Rukmini was aware of that, but then he sat down and then continued eating. And then Rukmini was puzzled. And then he questioned Krishna, "What happened, Krishna? Aren't you going to help your devotee?" And then Krishna explains that my devotee, he actually decided to protect himself. So it seems that in the middle of being overcome by this, the fear produces agitation, anxiety, and then, it kicks something. There is something that when we are in this bodily concept of life, there's something that is called, what is it? Flight and fight. How's it called? Fight and flight, right? You hear that? It's a psychological response to that fears. It's when adrenaline, comes. It's basically you get into protected mode. So fight and fly, fight and fly. So basically, there is something that you get into protection and you act. You do something. So it happens to the devotees in the middle of this agitation, then there's anxiety, and then this thing leads to anger. So there's three things. So as this creature comes to attack, then he went into attack mode. So he started to throw big boulders at the creature to kill. So, so when Krishna observed that then in that mode, that's not the mode of actually depending on Krishna. So Krishna allows the devotee to take care of like that. So this is what Krishna says. Krishna explained the whole thing about the devotee being attacked. In this case, was a wild dog or like a wolf. Krishna explained that he was going to protect the devotee, but the devotee, instead of having faith in the Lord, he immediately picked up a big stone to throw at the wild dog. So Krishna said he could not tell the difference between the devotee and the wild dog. They were the same. They're both aggressive with intention to hurt each other. So the moral of this story, we become agitated and angry when we do not surrender to Krishna. Then we have no faith that whatever has happened is Krishna's will and that we should seek his shelter and help. If we accept it, we do not become agitated, anxious, and angry. When we're anxious and agitated, you become angry. And when you're angry, your symptoms will be in anxiety and agitated. So it's like a vicious circle. And then, we know that what the Bhagavad Gita says, you fall down into the pool of material existence. So that happens to the devotees too. We're in the process of coming to this position of Saranagati. As long as we don't reach there, then we have to deal with this fear, agitation, and sometimes anger. And anger is very closely related to envy, like that. So we have to go through all these anarthas and purify them. Krishna is helping us purifying these things. So that is not the position of the eternal associates of Krishna. They're fully surrendered. They're fully surrendered. And in the verses, in the next verses, they explain that they argue why Krishna should protect them, Krishna and Balaram. They say, "Oh Krishna, Krishna, most powerful one, oh Rama, you whose progress never fail, please save your devotees. We are about to burn by this fire and have come to take shelter of you." And they say, "Krishna, certainly your own friends shouldn't be destroyed. O knower of the nature of all things, we have accepted you as our Lord, and we are so surrendered unto you." So that's the position of the devotee. Fully surrender, and in that full surrender, you're fully confident. In this case, the boys, they came to that position in the moment of danger. It is explained, the ordinary boys spoke. There are some that even they didn't need, Sri Dam didn't have a need to speak. Please save us. It's just be confident Krishna will save us. But regardless, that moment that we see Krishna, we're fully confident on Krishna's protection and Krishna's guardianship. So we can pray for that. We can remind ourselves. Lord Chaitanya gave us this song that he likes to sing. Krishna, 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 He. Krishna, 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 Rakshaman. Krishna, you're my protector. Krishna, 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 Pahiman. Krishna, you're my guard. You're my maintainer. So that's what we aspire to come to the position. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your nice class. I was actually meditating on these. I didn't know this was going to be the basis of your class, but I was actually meditating on and writing about some of these points today, this morning actually. And I'm glad you mentioned a lot of these points of Krishna is your protector. And unfortunately, all these years, I never looked up that. That was a beautiful verse you just chanted from the Prabhupada quotes in the Krishna book, in the opening part of the Krishna book, Krishna, 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 hey. I never actually knew what that verse meant all these years. I never looked it up, so I'm gonna you inspire me to look it up and read some of the verses near it and stuff and meditate on that. So thank you for that. Um, you were mentioning the pastime of Hiranyakashipu, and I'd like to share some points on that. Uh, and you were also mentioning the point that sometimes we still take shelter of things or people other than Krishna when we use other shelters. We see in the pastime Hiranyakashipu, he thought he was the supreme controller because he thought he had control over who lives and who dies. But when he tried to kill Prahlad, uh, unfortunately, he still thought he was the supreme controller. But obviously, he wasn't. And you were mentioning when we take shelter of, sometimes we have to fall into the mode of taking shelter of things other than Krishna. Jama Aishwarya Shruta Shribir, Queen Kunti says we take shelter of our money, our position, our beauty, our fame. And we see when people generally has those positions, we also sometimes think, oh, I'm in control. We may not have a mentality like Hiranyakashipu, I have control over who lives and who dies. But sometimes when we get in a position, we may think, oh, I have control over whose reputation lives and whose reputation dies. But in the chapter 10 of the chapter 4 of the Gita, Krishna says, I am the controller of fame and infamy, and not our position. So I appreciate that point. And another point of appreciation, I would just like to appreciate Prabhupada's faith. In the Brahma Samhita, it says what type of faith we should have. Ishwara Parama Krishna. It says Krishna is the supreme controller. It never says Ishwara Parama, persons, places, things, and circumstances. Krishna is in control and not persons, places, things, and circumstances. So when Prabhupada planned on coming to the West, everyone told Prabhupada, uh, you're trying to preach Krishna consciousness, start a worldwide movement at the age of 70 years old. Prabhupada, your old age is in control. Your poor health is in control. The Atlantic Ocean is in control. The winters of New York are in control. Your poverty is in control. But what did Prabhupada says? Actually, Ishwara Parama Krishna, Almighty God is in control. And you will see that I'll be successful in my mission. Why? Because I'm less concerned about the odds and more concerned about the gods. Prabhupada says when Krishna comes, the gods, the demigods also come to assist them. And we see that's what happened in Prabhupada's life. So there's a nice verse that says, Shastra yute suni pon dridashrada yamra, uttama adhikari se taraye samsara. It says one who is expert in logic, reason, and the scriptures, and the most important part, dridashrada yamra, one who has unflinching faith that Krishna is control, that person can transform the whole world like Srila Prabhupada, because sometimes in our spiritual life, we may quote the scriptures, like me, I could definitely say I don't have Prabhupada's faith. We may quote the scriptures, but when it comes to having our faith tested, go across the world and preach Krishna. No, thank you. Everything is controlled by Krishna. And so, if I had to ask a question, we see in the pastime of Hiranyakashipu. I'm not sure if you remember in that pastime, but in that pastime, it says that Narada Muni, Prahlad's guru, he was forced to serve um, Hiranyakashipu among practically the entire universe except Prahlad. And Prahlad could have been very proud. Wow, I have more faith in my own guru. And sometimes when Prabhupada came to the West, it appeared that Prabhupada had more faith in the people who tried to, the Vaishnavas who tried to discourage him. But one lesson I've learned is that sometimes Krishna will want to glorify a particular devotee at a particular moment, and so other devotees may seem like they lack the faith. So my question is, when we look at devotees like Narada Muni, Prahlad's guru, it may appear that he has lack of faith. Why did he say? Why did he serve Hiranyakashipu or the people, the naysayers, the Vaishnavas who tried to discourage Prabhupada in one sense? It may seem like they have no faith. So how should we view, sometimes other Vaishnavas like, oh, they don't have any faith. Maybe I don't like Prabhupada. Maybe I shouldn't associate with them because I should associate with people who have, Uttama Adhikari faith. And so how should we view that without committing aparadhs? Because sometimes we see that, oh, they don't have the faith. I should associate with some, and then we may criticize. And so,
The only thing I can think is that if 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 we have common sense, one will be very cautious of passing judgment. Um, understanding if meaning common sense means that you have a somewhat objective understanding of what your position is. So, in general, when we're fully materially absorbed and in completely victimized by false ego, and we don't see anything, we just see ourselves. And any fool can sort of just think that they know it all. It's like you have what they call it, the couch coach. Sometimes in sport teams, they pay very gorgeously to the leader, the coach, because they know the strategies, and the thing, and they, so they create the whole attack and defense, for the teams and things like that. And then there is a fan, who is eating potato chips and drinking, sodas, sitting in his couch, watching TV and say, you know, how this guy is stupid, I will do like, thinking that they know better, you know. So any fool can say that if you're so deluded by your own, thinking of what you think of yourself. But if we have common sense, if we understand that, my position is that I'm learning. I'm a student. I don't know everything. And in fact, these studies that I'm doing help me understand by symptoms where I'm at. So by symptoms, when I have mixed devotion, when I'm, in this internal battlefield, one can actually understand. I'm in an internal battlefield. Sometimes, I have to constantly be fencing some material propensities that I have, you know, like, you make sure, I don't know, some very attractive woman pass, is hardly dressing, like almost naked. And, you're in Harinam and you have to keep your focus, you don't, you keep the focus and take shelter of the Lord, instead of going like, the wolf, woo, like that, you know. So you have to fence those things. You fence it, you keep your focus on the lotus feet of the Lord and the service to the spiritual master. But it's a battle. If you know that if you get, well, what's a big deal? I'm not gonna do anything, woo, like that. Uh, you know, so we can understand there's a battle inside. There's a propensity, a material propensity. There's a spiritual propensity, and you know, they're they're struggling. Sometimes when we go to this, the symptoms of neophyte is that we go to is upside downs in our faith. It's called anishtata bhakti, that our faith is unstable. It's not steady. So sometimes have deep, sometimes goes up like that. So when we go deep, when we go down, is that we're not necessarily fully focused. We're taking it a little easier, and then we get afflicted. Oh, what's a big deal? I have this crave for having pizza, and so I go to the store. I'm not gonna get a flesh. I'm just gonna get, So you have onions and garlic. What can you do? So, you know, like that. So eat something like that, or you do something out of some crave that you still hold. That's in one of those, and then you realize, oh my God, no, 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 I cannot do this. Let me concentrate in my sadhana, and then you start to go up again, and like that, we go in that process. So if I understand my position as a neophyte, another symptom of neophyte is that we cannot make proper discrimination. So meaning that I won't judge my judgment. I won't trust my judgment. And if I'm in that position, who am I to tell what a devotee is doing and things like that? So I have to be, first, with common sense, I have to be very cautious. That's the first thing. And that's what been told to us. Be very cautious. Don't engage. Actually, it's better that you go on the safe side and never engage in criticizing devotees. So sometimes out of service, you may have to do something that appears to be criticism. But also you have to be very careful. You have to be in the mood of service, and you have to be they have to be a relationship that allows that to happen. So we have to be, in other words, I think it's extremely cautious. And what to speak when we're talking about highly advanced devotees. That's the part that absolutely, who are you? What, it's just common sense, to, the scriptures tell us, that we can understand the mind of a devotee. Sometimes it is said, if you see Lord Nityananda coming out of a liquor shop, you don't pass a judgment like that. Oh, Lord Nityananda, no. It's not like that. You can understand. So therefore, those who are non-devotees, they can't fully understand Krishna or Krishna's devotees. You don't understand it because you're trying to extend your personal experience, which is completely full of fault, into the realm of others. So we don't do that. I'm going to stop here. But thank you so much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.